Welcome guys, this is another online video session of Principles of Communication Systems. Today we'll see the demodulation techniques of FM waves, that is frequency modulated waves. And we know that there are different techniques we have already discussed how to generate frequency modulated waves in the previous videos. So if you look at this one, so basically we have to explore this extraction of the message signal from the original frequency modulated signal normally refers to the frequency modulation, demodulation. So frequency demodulation is what? Simply it is a process to recover back our original modulating signal from the FM signal. But during frequency modulation, all we know that what we have did when we are going to do the frequency modulation, we got varied the frequency of carrier signal according to the amplitude, instantaneous amplitude variations of the message signal. Means message in this way it is carried over by the high frequency carrier signal. So from that now we'll have to try to extract our modulating or message signal. For example, suppose if you look at this simple block diagram, FM wave I will give, for example S of t, if I will denote my frequency modulated wave, maybe it is a narrow or wide band. So whatever the way we have adopted and generated frequency modulated wave, so one typical frequency modulated wave is there. Let us assume it as S of t, denoted by S of t. So what will happen, how we have to extract the message signal back from this frequency modulated wave, that is S of t. From S of t simply we have to extract M of t. Means what kind, we assume that for the timing don't go for these things. So let us assume some black box is there in the demodulation. So what could be the property of that black box in the demodulation? Means we have to focus on what could be the characteristics or properties of the demodulation, so that it will help us to get our M of t from the frequency modulated wave S of t. So surely that should be exactly reverse or opposite to that of the system transfer function that we are using while doing the frequency modulation. Means our demodulating system should possess or exhibit reverse transfer characteristics as compared with that of the frequency modulator. Demodulator should have transfer characteristics which is exactly opposite or reverse as that of the transfer characteristics of the frequency modulator simply. So the whole discussion for our syllabus is this only. How we can achieve this, having reverse transfer characteristics at the demodulator, which will help us to get our M of t from the S of t. Okay, understanding? So here we are not directly focusing simply the block diagram and some operation. We are trying to understand bit in depth about how both qualitatively and quantitatively we are going to discuss or focus on the properties or transfer characteristics that should be there for the frequency demodulation, which will later help us to get our M of t from the S of t. There are different techniques are there how to achieve this reverse transfer characteristics for our demodulating system compared with that of the frequency modulator. So this can be achieved directly by using discriminator method or balanced discriminator also we can call, or indirectly by using phase locked loop. So two techniques are there as such for our syllabus. So before we'll go through, this is the normal block diagram that you will supposed to draw first and explain about this one. So figure shows a typical block diagram for the discriminator, or you can say balanced discriminator, that is a frequency demodulator, where input frequency modulated wave S of t is applied to both slope circuits having transfer functions h1 of f and h2 of f, and output of each of the respective slope circuit blocks will be given as input to the respective enabler detectors, which are helpful in identifying or recognizing our message signal with the help of slope circuit. Respectively, they will be giving two outputs. Their difference, normally it is going to give our baseband signal or message signal. Okay. Now what we are focusing in today's discussion is what could be the nature or properties or characteristics of this slope circuit. Okay. So let us why we are using two slope circuits here, not one. So two things here. First we have to learn, focus here all of you. The first one, we need to discuss what could be the nature or shape of this transfer characteristics of slope circuit. First we'll try to define that, try to understand that. That itself will help us to identify why we are going for more than one slope circuit transfer characteristics here, and that too why exactly two if it is more than one. Okay. Now let us start with you have to remember these things. Okay. The transfer characteristics for the typical slope circuit is given by like this. It is a complex, its value will be complex. It is a characteristics of this h1 of f, that is transfer characteristics of the first slope circuit block. Here you can see, because of having the j in the term, j parameter in this term, so this term will become complex and imaginary for this range of frequency. So this is the frequency response of ideal slope circuit. This is the frequency response of ideal slope circuit got by plotting h1 of f by j versus f versus frequency. Frequency response means it should be x-axis should be f only. Okay. So we got here two edges, one on the right and another one on the left hand side, like double sideband we have discussed, no? Like that the picture is appearing here. We got here two bands here. It is a frequency band we are discussing here about the slope circuit here. Okay. So what will happen? Come back to this one. We got here two frequency bands on the right hand side having the slope 2 pi a. You can see here we got the slope as 2 pi a with the width of this band ranging from fc minus bt by 2 to fc plus bt by 2. Means total width is going to be, if you add these two, we will be getting bt only. bt by 2 plus bt by 2 will become the total width of the each band is going to be bt only. So like that we got two frequency bands having the width bt on either side of the, symmetrically arranged on either side of this origin. The frequency range has been given on except at these two ranges we don't have any frequency components. So this is how we are going to characterize as far as the transfer characteristics is concerned for the ideal slope circuit. Okay. So the nature is that how we are going to describe this one. We got only two frequency bands symmetrically arranged on either side of the h1 of f by j axis having the slope 2 pi a. and bandwidth of Bt. Their frequency ranges have been shown here in this equation. So this is about the ideal slope circuit. Okay. So the slope circuit's response is like this. This is the practical slope circuit's response. So normally if you have the very large frequency, for example, if it is a frequency is non-zero, more than 0, so in that case we'll be having this. So what we can write, h1 hyphen of f minus fc, it is shifted towards left by an amount of fc here. That is the meaning. Okay, we need to apply some shifting operations here. That should be equal to twice that of the transfer characteristics of the slope circuit, and that is ideal slope circuit. If you want, you can say this is the practical slope circuit's response, having the slope 4 pi a, not 2 pi a here. It is going to be 4 pi a here. So that has been given here, the h1 cap of f. So how much you are getting, j 4 pi a g into bracket f plus bt by 2, ranging from minus 2 plus bt by 2. Having the again the width is will be remain same, bandwidth, that is bt only. Okay. For the time being, now we have to remember this much. We first defined mathematically with this help of this graph here, frequency response of ideal slope circuit will be having a two slopes with the value 2 pi a symmetrically arranged on either side of the h1 of f by j straight line, j axis, having bandwidth of bt. Their respective frequency ranges and their corresponding values have been shown as they are shown in this equation. So the main thing you have to see here, its transfer characteristics is showing that except at these ranges, at remaining place will be having 0 values. There are no any frequency components as such. Practically to say, the slope circuit's response is going to be twice of this one. That is normally we are going to donate. If you take this one like this, whenever a frequency is more than 0, then you will be getting its frequency properties will be shifted in a frequency domain by an amount of fc, like this. So next we can see another one. So h2 of f by j is the complementary to frequency response of ideal slope. So this one you have seen, this one is down, this one is up. So h2 of f, now you are getting complementary. You can see here it is like this, 90 degree on the left hand side, this is 90 degree on the right hand side with respect to u. Try to listen here carefully. 90 degree where it is there, you will be taking the mirror left to right, right to left, shifting is happening here. So what is happening now, 90 degrees here, and your slope is gradually decreasing on its left hand side. It is making 90 degree here, right side. But if you observe this one here, previously it was there, now it will be mirror image, left to right it has turned. Similarly it was left to right turned compared to the previous one. So that's what is known as a complementary to frequency. What we want exactly, we want reverse transfer characteristic. That's what we are focusing here. Now we got the slope here minus 2 pi, and here it is also going to be minus. It is going to be plus, sorry. Minus by minus you will get. That is a tan theta opposite by adjacent, like that. Now let us assume that our FM signal, what we have assumed, S of t, assume that it will be having some complex envelope denoted by S hyphen of t. Okay, let us assume like this. So we are not doing, guys, one thing, we are not doing any mathematical steps here, derivations as such. We are trying to learn how we can arrive at the characterization of frequency demodulator, which is reverse as that of the frequency modulator. Okay, So first we stated or defined here mathematically the frequency response of ideal slope circuit. Then we gone for defining the frequency response of practical slope circuits response, that is H1 hyphen of F, that is its output if you want you can say. Now later with that step 1, in step 2 what we are doing, we are trying to assuming that our FM signal S of t will be having a complex envelope denoted by S hyphen of t, that is AC, the carrier signal amplitude times e to the power exponential, that is e to the power of j, that is a complex term here is there, e to the power of j 2 pi kf frequency sensitivity parameter, integral from 0 to t message signal for a very short duration we are taking up here, picking up. So FM signal as input to demodulator we are applying here, having this complex envelope. That now this envelope, our duty is to detect this envelope, complex envelope. Are you getting this? In the first step I have characterized what could be the transfer characteristics of the slope circuit. Okay, and it is of course going to be followed by envelope detector. Later envelope detector is there. Okay, so this envelope detector should identify this complex envelope what we have assumed for our FM signal. Okay, here it is our FM signal. So its complex envelope is this, what we are assuming here. Okay. Now what we are doing, simply we are applying this such kind of FM signal having this kind of nature of a complex envelope is applied as input to the envelope slope circuit having transfer function H1 of F. Here we are applying this FM signal having this kind of complex envelope as input to the slope circuit block having this kind of property or characteristics. This already we are discussing. Then what output it is providing? Input we have given S hyphen of t, that is a complex envelope FM signal we have applied. We assumed it may be having this kind of complex envelope. So FM signal having this kind of complex envelope. Now we have applied as input to slope circuit. What is the transfer characteristics? How we define it? Already I have discussed like this one. Now when you apply such kind of FM signal having this kind of complex envelope as input to slope circuit having this kind of transfer characteristics, it is going to produce an output that is denoted by S1 hyphen of t. S hyphen of t applied as input to slope circuit, and its output we are getting S1 hyphen of t. Okay. Now let us see what else it will contain. Unless we transfer this time domain signal to frequency domain, we cannot identify its frequency domain contents as we are observing here. So for that purpose we have to apply the Fourier transform to this S1 hyphen of t. So what we are getting, S1 hyphen of f equal to, we are getting half H1 hyphen of f, half of H1 hyphen of f into S1 S hyphen of f. Means I am denoting this one by S1 hyphen of f. That is half of H1 hyphen of f into S hyphen of f. Okay. S hyphen of f is a transfer frequency domain representation of S hyphen of t. They are Fourier transform pair like that, S hyphen of t and S hyphen of f like that. Similarly, H1 of t and H1 hyphen of f are ft pairs, and it is characterized by like this, S1 hyphen of f, as you have seen here. Okay. So next, what is happening? So this H1 hyphen of f will be related to H1 of f like this. H1 hyphen of f minus fc shifted in frequency domain by an amount of fc, that is equal to twice the H1 of f, twice the transfer characteristics of the slope circuit 1, here, H1 of f. Okay. So now you can see here its exact complementary one we are getting here for h2 of f that we are taking. Now what we got, once you take the ft of this, we are getting this one. Okay, so let us summarize here exactly what we are doing here. FM signal we are applying, having this complex envelope. We are applying FF signal S of t, having the complex envelope S hyphen of t. We are applying as input to, so as input to the slope circuit. Slope circuit transfer characteristics is like this one, defined by this. Its output what we are getting, S1 hyphen of t. If you take the Fourier transform, we are getting its frequency, that is transfer characteristics. Okay, S1 hyphen of f, having this much we are getting. So in order to convert this back to time domain, what we are doing, we are applying the inverse Fourier transform, or simply we are multiplying this by j2 pi f, that is e to the power of j2 pi f, and taking the integration inverse Fourier transform. In other words, if we say, we are trying to take that one. The purpose of writing this one is we are trying to convert this frequency domain S1 hyphen of f back to S1 hyphen of t. So if you do this one, so no any intermediate steps are there, guys. You try to remember this and try to remember how to elaborate these things, explain these things. So this S1 hyphen of t is going to be the output of what? The output of the slope detector. Okay, slope circuit. That is A times ds1 ds hyphen of t by dt plus j pi bt, that is a bandwidth of baseband signal S hyphen of t. So here if you substitute S hyphen of t from this equation, that is it will indicate the, now you can see the output of the slope circuit, that is S1 hyphen of t. Now its equation will contain all the terms depending on the containing the complex envelope factor here equation. Now we have to identify this one. We have to extract this S hyphen. Okay, so let us see. Before that, first we'll have to substitute S hyphen of t here. A into bracket, you do it by yourself. Some of the steps are there, you do it, we can easily get it. Simply differentiate this one with respect to time. This also time is there. Okay, and plus j pi bt, here no any differentiation is there, you just simply keep it as it is. Then if you manipulate and simplify this one, you will be getting this one like this. So here there is a constant term. So what else the constant things are there already? Here AC is there, AC is coming here. Small a is there, small a is coming outside. Small a, capital AC are the constant things, they will be kept outside. And this one is also constant, j2 pi kf. J pi is there, so kf, j2 pi kf will be kept here. So let us see. So if you do some of those steps, you will be finally arriving at this time domain representation of S1 hyphen of f, that is S1 hyphen of t. Okay, if you take the real value of this one, we have to leave the imaginary part. What we will get only, so let us see what we are getting. So if you take the real value, so e to the power of this much means how we'll write? Cos of 2 pi fct plus 2 pi kf, like that we can write, because cos of 2 pi fct plus theta is nothing but this exponential expression only, you are getting it back. So how he is writing here, this term only he is going to write here, he has written here. This one is e to the power of j2 pi kf integral of m of 2 d2 is there. Okay, this is what e to the power of j2 pi kf integral of m of 2 d2 is there. Okay, so what he is doing, he is simply trying to express this exponential factor in terms of the cosine. Okay, cos of 90, you can see the compound rules here, compound factor rules of the trigonometry. Cos of 90 plus this term, will be getting it back this only. Okay, now if you look at this one here, because now you can see why we are taking the real value, because our now the S1 of t, this one is going to be hybrid signal. Initially we have applied S1 of t, that is a frequency modulated signal, single one, where its only frequency got varied. But by the time when we'll apply that S1 of t as input to slope circuit, output of slope circuit, what we are getting? S1 hyphen of t, not S1 of t. S1 of t we applied as input. Okay. So what is the relationship between S1 of t and S1 hyphen of t? S1 of t is S of t is the frequency modulated wave, and S1 hyphen of t is the output of slope circuit. So this S1 hyphen of t will contain not only the frequency variation but also amplitude variations. Amplitude of the carrier also got varied according to the message signal when you are going to pass it through the slope circuit. This is very key point. So remember guys, what the things I am explaining here during the mathematical, we are not doing any mathematical derivation. I am not doing any mathematical derivation here. I am explaining in detail what is happening in the discriminator. Still we are with the main point discussion. We are trying to understand how the transfer characteristic of the frequency demodulator is exactly reverse as that of the frequency modulator. That to keep in mind. Okay. So here now, after passing our only frequency variation of the carrier signal, that is FM signal S of t, through the slope circuit, output of slope circuit will contain frequency variations. Also along with that will also contain amplitude variations in the carrier according to the message signal variations. Now we are interested only with the amplitude variations, not carrier frequency variations. So those amplitude variations now we have to pick. Okay. So that can be obtained by applying. You can see here I have drawn this straight line, means I am subjecting this equation with respect to this condition. I am applying this condition less than 1. So this one I want to keep it this term less than 1 in order to extract only the amplitude variations, not frequency variations. With this condition I will do, because for all t he is telling. So later if you look at the transfer characteristics, it should be 0 everywhere except at only at these portions. Okay. So if you apply this condition and manipulate or resolve this equation, so that's what envelope detector is doing. Envelope detector is going to trying to extract the amplitude variations, applying this condition to this equation, because this equation is contain both frequency variations and amplitude variations. If you apply this condition with the help of envelope detector circuit, you are able to extract only the amplitude variations like this. Okay. So it's a biasing term. Okay. Here you can see. So this factor I would like to call it as a biasing term, because it will contain amplitude variations cancelled by having complementary slope circuitry. So this can be cancelled, because this is the main guy which is going to result into the amplitude variations. Okay. I have to cancel here. How I will have to cancel? I have to design a filter so that it will be having the transfer characteristics. Just I will call it as a H2 of f, and that H2 of f will cancel out this term. If you are successful in cancelling out this term by having filter with this transfer function, that is obviously we will get it as exactly reverse. You can see H2 of f is H1 of minus f here. They are odd, related with odd property. In a signals and systems you have learned, no, like that. Exactly reverse transfer characteristics. And its output you can see when you apply this one as input to the envelope detector. Next what? After slope circuit, its output, that is S1 hyphen of t, will be given as input to the envelope detector. What envelope detector's duty is to extract the such amplitude variations by subjecting to this condition. You have to extract that. Okay. So that is a biasing term that can be obtained by having the transfer characteristics for our envelope detector or a filter having exactly reverse transfer characteristics as that of the modulator. Then its output I will call it as a S2 hyphen of t. So you will be getting this one like this. Okay. So this is S2 hyphen of t. So next, how we are getting the output? We'll take the difference of these two, because there should not be any difference here. This corresponds to your input and this corresponds to your output. So what input you have sent, that is the FM signal. This is what complex envelope, what we assumed here there. Complex envelope you have assumed no for our FM signal, this one. So from that we are trying to extract the amplitude variations. Okay, so this should be same as that of this one. So we have to minimize this one. So thus ideal frequency discriminator can be modeled as having two slope circuits with their transfer characteristics exactly opposite to each other like this. So this is how we have traveled like this. Okay. So let us start our journey. Just recap there. So I am understanding that you will be taking some time to get well versed with this one. Okay. So what you did initially, you have to keep here this block in mind. So this whole block in mind you have to keep this one. Then only you can easily understand. Okay. So if you draw this block, first you try to explain how you are going to characterize the transfer characteristics or property or behavior of this slope circuit in terms of H1 of f and frequency response of ideal slope circuit. Then next you can tell practical slope circuit's response and its relationship with that of the ideal slope circuit response. So the shifted version of practical slope circuit's response in frequency domain is equal to twice that of the transfer function of the ideal slope circuit response. So both characteristics has been shown here. Next also we are considering its complementary frequency response just for our convenience to discuss and to understand at the end how we are going to arrive at the reverse transfer characteristics. That's all. Okay. So the complete journey I have summarized here in this slide number 40. I am telling you. You are applying the FM signal having the complex envelope of S hyphen of t as input to the slope circuit, having this much of transfer characteristic H1 of f. Output of the slope circuit is S1 hyphen of t. After taking its Fourier transform, we are getting its frequency components as S1 hyphen of f equal to half of the H1 hyphen of f and S hyphen of f, ranging from minus bt by 2 to plus bt by 2. Bandwidth is bt. Now we'll have to get its equivalent time domain signal back by applying the inverse Fourier transform by simply multiplying it by j2 pi f. Okay, you multiply it by e to power j2 pi f and take the integration. That's it. Now next what we are getting, S1 hyphen of t, we are getting it as a into bracket, a is a constant of proportionality we are getting here, some constant thing will be there. So ds hyphen of t by dt plus j pi bt s hyphen of t. Substitute s hyphen of t, that is the complex envelope of FM signal that we are interested here. If we want some steps here, I know that you can easily do that one. Even if you are unable to get to try to practice it, this is very simple one I am giving as exercise. Now output of the slope circuit, what you are getting, S1 hyphen of t. Okay. Now this one is appears to be more complex. We are just going to take its real value. Okay. So this with the next slide we are going here. Same thing we are getting. Now if you take the real value, if you elaborate this one, if you expand this one, okay, if you expand this, so what is e to the power of this? Cos of j2 pi kf integral of m of 2 d2 plus j of j2 pi kf integral m of 2 d2. So if you expand this one, then you will be able to get these things. Now you can see how much it is complex. So it will contain both amplitude variations and frequency variations, which are varying as per this amplitude variations of the message signal. In order to nullify the amplitude variations, okay, we are using analog detector. In order to nullify the frequency variations, we are using, and to detect the amplitude variations, we are using analog detector, which is going to apply this condition on this equation and help us to identify the amplitude variations. That is a biasing thing that can be cancelled by having complementary slope circuitry, having this transfer function exactly opposite to that of the H1 of f. Now output of this analog detector is going to be S2 hyphen of t, like this. So if you take the difference of these two, we are going to get, that is we are trying to, that's why it has got its name as a balanced discriminator. We are going to balance here what input you have given as FM signal and what output we are getting. It is in the feedback path. Feedback loop is there. You can see the feedback loop is there here. Okay. So we are here. That's why you can see here, guys. We need two slope circuits having the transfer characteristics exactly opposite in nature. Because why? Because we want to cancel out these amplitude variations and help us in extracting the message signal. Okay, this is the main point you have to remember. That's why we need two slope circuits, and obviously we need two analog detectors which are responsible for identifying amplitude variations and helping us to detect that complex envelope hidden in the FM signal S of t, that is S1 hyphen of t, and we'll try to take the difference here. So that work is done here by this center tapped secondary transformer. So here is the actual circuitry we are arriving. Figure A shows, till now, guys, just I want to summarize. With this block diagram we have discussed why we need two slope circuits and why their transfer characteristics are exactly opposite to each other, and why their transfer characteristics should be exactly opposite to each other. This much we discussed, that is sufficient. Okay, and why we are taking the difference here. Now let us see how this balanced slope discriminator or detector is going to work. We have here main circuitry, FM demodulator circuitry. At the primary, you can say we are applying the FM signal S of t having the complex envelope of S1 hyphen of t. On the secondary, you can say it is a center tapped. I will divide this because of center tapping. I like to call it as upper part of the secondary and lower part of the secondary. Let us see how they have been tuned. Upper part of the secondary with this capacitance, it has been tuned above the frequency Fc plus delta f by an amount of delta f, and lower part of the secondary is tuned to a frequency little bit lower than the higher frequency carrier frequency by an amount of delta f. Okay. Now correspondingly we will be having D1 and D2, and this one is acting like a analog detector filter here, low pass filter. Okay, so we are interested with the low pass signals here. Message signal, normally it is a low frequency signal, we have to extract that, not high frequency signals. Okay, so those things could be extracted, and their output we are getting it as V01 and V02, and you can see here, so normalized output voltage V0 versus F has been drawn to show you the amplitude response of the upper tuned filter and lower tuned filters. This is the upper tuned filter slope circuit and lower tuned filter slope circuit. Upper tuned filter H1 of F, this one, and lower tuned filter having the transfer characteristics H2 of F, like this, exactly opposite to each other. The distance between them is 3 dB. and the difference between the peaks is 2 dB. So this 3 dB difference is required. You can see it has been shown by the dotted line. This 3 dB difference is required to have the ideal achievement of exact reverse transfer characteristics between them. To achieve this exact or almost reliable reverse transfer characteristics, if you want to say, this 3 dB difference is required. This is another key point. That itself is going to tell us how reliably you are going to tune both upper and lower secondary parts very well, and how well you are going to achieve V01 and V02, and how well you are going to balance out both the things, and finally you are going to extract the things. You can see here we are getting 0 when both are equal. When input frequency is more than carrier frequency, we will be getting positive value, or else we are getting the negative value like this. So this is how, guys, you will be able to, you have to explain the operation of this frequency discriminator or balanced lobe detector.